All right, the Vancouver Canucks have done it again, claiming Travis Boyd off waivers from the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I called it. I had this script ready. It is literally 9:02 a.m. So let's talk about Travis Boyd and another just shrewd acquisition from Jim Benning. Thank you, Jim. All right, Travis Boyd, centerman, 27 years old. Never really had a chance breaking into the NHL. He was drafted by Washington back in the sixth round in 2011, so 10 years ago he got drafted. Did 4 years at the University of Minnesota. Never really looked like a player who was going to make the AHL, but made it to the AHL. Went to Hershey, which is the Washington Capitals affiliate. Played 3 years there. He was always solid, putting up about 3/4 of a point per game, 0.75 points per game. Ended up getting his first shot in the NHL with the Capitals in 2017-2018. So just a few seasons ago. Got called up for 8 games. Still ended up playing 61 games in the AHL that year. But his first full year in the NHL, 2018-2019, he played 53 games for the Washington Capitals, garnered 5 goals, 15 assists for 20 points. So 20 points in 53 games in his first full NHL season, albeit he was about 24, 25 years old, but still a pretty respectable number. So we go to last year. He played 24 games for the Capitals, had 3 goals and 7 assists for 10 points, so 10 points in 24 games. Again, being a healthy scratch a lot. Basically, the ideal 13th forward for the Capitals during those last couple of years. Also played in 4 playoff games, had a goal there. So in this last offseason, he signed with Toronto, got a 1-year, one-way contract for $700,000. So a really good number to be paying a guy who's like your 12th or 13th forward, right? You look at the Canucks and we have guys who are making 3 million on that fourth line. So slotting in someone who's making 700K is just much smarter to have someone who can still play the game well, can still put up the occasional points every once in a while, making only 700K on your fourth line. So for Toronto, he's played in 20 out of their 32 games, so about or 2/3 of their games or so. He had 8 points, so 3 goals, 5 assists for 8 points in 20 games. It's about like a 30-something point pace. But again, you're a fourth liner. That's going to be wildly inconsistent. But basically, the reason he was playing, he came in as the 13th forward for the Leafs. But Wayne Simmons went out with an injury. I think he broke his wrist. So he was out for about a month or two. And because of that, Travis Boyd slotted in, played those 20 games, did well for the Leafs. I know he scored against the Canucks earlier this year. I remember that. But Wayne Simmons is back. He's returning from his injury. So Toronto needed to clear some space out before the deadline. So where does that leave the Canucks? He has to take a week to get here or to quarantine. So he'll have to fly from Toronto to Vancouver. He'll be able to sit for a week in a hotel room quarantining. The Canucks have a bye week here anyways, so the only games he misses are tonight and Wednesday against the Jets. So he will be likely in the lineup next Wednesday, March 31st against the Flames. That's also probably the game that Elias Pettersson comes back, in my opinion. So just 2 elite talents entering the lineup in Elias Pettersson and Travis Boyd. Also, I just love this from a screw the Maple Leafs perspective. And if you're a Maple Leafs fan watching this and you're probably, somewhat upset that Travis Boyd's going to Vancouver, and I totally get that, and I'm not trying to like rip on you guys or anything, but if you are a Leafs fan watching this video, leave your thoughts on Travis Boyd in the comments below, because obviously none of us have watched him play as much as you guys probably have, so it would be great to get your opinions on what kind of player we're getting. I just think it's hilarious that we take Jimmy Vesey and the Leafs fans are like, who cares, it's Jimmy Vesey, and then Travis Boyd's sort of been a darling for them this year. But the Canucks just swooping in and taking him as well. Anyways, if you are excited with this Travis Boyd news, always more players is always a good thing to do, especially when they're this cheap at 700K. And what this does for the Canucks is it opens up the ability to make some trades, right? You're able to bring in guys like Jimmy Vesey and Travis Boyd, and then if you do make a trade on a guy like Brandon Sutter, for example, in the next 3 weeks before the trade deadline, then you have a guy like Travis Boyd who can slot in as your 4C or even play on the wing on your fourth line, your third line. If you do make some moves like that, maybe you're able to get rid of Roussel or Beagle or anyone on those bottom 2 lines. Even like a guy like Jake Virtanen and a guy like Travis Boyd is just another body that for cheap that you can fill into the lineup. Anyways, that's all I've got on this news. Travis Boyd to the Vancouver Canucks off of waivers from Toronto. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more from me, you can hit subscribe down below, hit the like button if you're excited, and leave some comments on what you think the Canucks should do going into the trade deadline. We're 3 weeks away. 3 weeks away from hopefully something happening. It could be a real snoozer or it could be a little bit exciting. So, anyways, that's all I've got. I will see you after the game tonight.